Karen thought she could sneak into my backyard at 2 a.m. and tear down my greenhouse. She crept in with bolt cutters, wearing black. What she didn't know, my neighbor is a K-9 officer, and his partner was already tracking her. Before she could touch anything, she was cornered, caught on camera, and arrested. And when the video went viral, we uncovered her fake fines, shady accounts, and illegal HOA scams. She went from HOA president to convicted TRESPASSER. It started with a rustle, not the wind in the trees kind, but the deliberate, shifty, sort like someone trying not to be heard. At 2:14 a.m. on a Thursday, that kind of sound wasn't normal. Not on my land. I live on a quiet cul-de-sac just off Maple Hollow Drive, a modest tucked-away neighborhood bordered by thick woods and wide yards. Peaceful, until the HOA president moved in. Karen Forrester. President Forrester. As she insisted everyone call her in the HOA. Like a private military unit, she monitored trash cans, counted guests' cars, and once tried to fine a neighbor for having improperly angled mulch. I'd always kept my distance, never attending the meetings, never joining her little parade of control. The problem started when I decided to build a small greenhouse in my backyard, all legal, fully permitted, but apparently not consistent with the neighborhood design. First came the letters, then the emails, then the final warning taped to my back gate. I ignored them because I had every legal right to build it, and I did. That's when things escalated. Motion lights started going off at odd hours. My dog, Blaze, a calm golden retriever, growled at corners of the yard where no one stood. I felt watched. But I didn't realize how serious it had gotten until the night my neighbor's K-9 unit beat me to the backyard. You see, my next-door neighbor, Officer Hank Doyle, works K-9 patrol. BigGuy.com, demeanor, ex-military, his partner is Shadow, a black German shepherd with the kind of precision that makes you reconsider your life choices. Hank had installed high-res night vision cameras and motion detectors. Years ago, he called it hobby-grade home defense. That night, around 2:14 a.m., both his and my motion alerts triggered. I was halfway down the stairs with a flashlight when I saw Hank already in pursuit through the side gate. Someone's in your yard. He whispered over the fence earlier that week, and I don't mean a raccoon. So he'd taken it upon himself to keep an eye out. Shadow had already picked up a scent trail and was weaving through the garden beds like a predator. And then there she was. Caught mid-crouch behind my greenhouse, dressed in dark clothing, gloves on, holding what looked like a pair of bolt cutters and a camera. Karen. Shadow froze, snarled, and barked once loud, commanding. The kind of sound that puts the fear of God in anyone with a conscience. Karen dropped the cutters and screamed. Hank emerged from behind the shed. "Ma'am, don't move. You're trespassing on private property." Karen's voice cracked. I was just checking. This structure isn't HOA approved. You're in violation. You're not law enforcement, Hank said calmly. You have no authority here. Hands where I can see them. She didn't comply. So Shadow took a step forward, teeth bared. Karen froze. Hank didn't even need to call for backup. I stepped out with my phone, already recording. She tried to spin it. This is a misunderstanding. I thought it was abandoned. You emailed me last week demanding I remove it. I cut in. You know exactly what it is. And now you're breaking and entering at 2 in the morning. That's when Hank calmly pulled out his radio. Dispatch, I've got one trespasser on private property. Possible vandalism tools in hand. Sent a unit. Karen shrieked. You can't arrest me. I'm the HOA president. And I'm a K-9 officer for the county. Hank said, deadpan, which beats that. Karen was escorted out in handcuffs by 2 uniformed deputies. I didn't press charges that night but I made sure the incident was well documented. The video, of course, went viral the next morning. Thanks to my security feed, Hank's body cam, and Karen's bizarre behavior, it was all too easy to piece together what happened. She had been sneaking into yards for weeks. Mine wasn't the first. She had even tried to pry open a neighbor's locked gate, claiming she needed to inspect a tool shed for code violations. The woman was out of control. Turns out, Karen had been issuing fake HOA fines, real-looking citations printed at home with forged legal language. Dozens of residents had paid them, assuming they were legit, but they weren't. Karen had created her own fund, funneling the fines into a separate account she called the Compliance Restoration Reserve. When the video hit social media, it spread fast. HOA president caught trespassing with bolt cutters, stopped by K-9 cop. Neighbor the local news ran it that evening. Karen was suspended from the HOA by a special emergency board vote called by the same people she once bullied into submission. I attended that meeting and testified along with Hank. We played the footage on a projector. By the time it was over, people were livid, and that was just the beginning. I forwarded the entire case to the county prosecutor and the state's Office of Regulatory Affairs, because the HOA wasn't just rogue, it was running illegal operations. Karen had never filed required reports, misused funds, and abused her title. *A full audit was ordered. Investigators found more than $40,000 in unexplained HOA fees and an entire ghost committee made up of fake names Karen had invented to rubber stamp her policies. By winter, the Ridgewood HOA was dissolved by a court ruling. The remaining board members resigned or were replaced by vote. Karen, she pled guilty to criminal trespass, fraud, and misuse of HOA funds. She avoided jail time, but only by paying full restitution and agreeing to a permanent no-contact order with every resident in the subdivision, including me. The best part, the judge barred her from serving on any HOA, PTA, or neighborhood board anywhere in the state. Now, the greenhouse is still standing. My yard's been peaceful, my dog's relaxed, and Hank and Shadow are still the quiet heroes of the block. Sometimes, over beers, Hank jokes, "Good thing she didn't try to run, Shadow was ready." And every time I walk past the spot where Karen crouched in the dark, I smile. Because in the end, she didn't just lose control. She got hunted. By the law,